purpose. The purpose of life is not to be happy, but to matter, to be productive, to be useful, to have it make some difference that you live at all. By Leo Rosten. What were you meant to do that you aren't doing? You get a glimpse into your purpose by paying attention to the things you love, what you're good at, and where your opportunities are open for you. When you're a skater, you skate. When you're a writer, you write. When you're a teacher, you teach. And you do those things with everything you have because when your purpose presents itself, you owe it to yourself to follow through. I get excited by the kind of person I know you will become when you give up your excuses and start uncovering what you've been capable of all this time. I get excited by the kind of impact you will be able to have when you stop playing small, when you get out of your own way, when you are ready to be done holding back and to become all you were made to be. I get excited by inspiring in every individual I meet access his or her great potential to that the world doesn't miss what he or she brings to the table. This is what finishing first is about for me. It's not about proving yourself or beating your competitors, but about accessing your unique purpose. What is your unique purpose? Do you know? If you do know, have you taken any time to stop and make sure you're doing what you were put here to do? My faith tells me that everything is meaningful, that nothing happens by accident. You are here for a reason. If you don't know that reason yet, you are probably struggling and miserable. What you really want. You hear life coaches and inspirational gurus say all the time, nothing is out of your reach. But I have a problem with that statement. It's not that I disagree. I don't. It's just that too many of us move to the world with a sense of entitlement, thinking we should be able to have whatever we want, whenever we want it, and that it should be handed to us on a silver platter without us having to pay for it. What I've learned over time is that it's mostly unhelpful to tell people that they can have whatever they want because most of us have no idea what we truly want. What we think we want isn't what we want at all. And what we really want is to fulfill our purpose. We all have a unique purpose. Exodus chapter 9 verse 16 says, "But I have raised you up for this very purpose, that I might show you my power and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth." This is the greater purpose at work than your personal happiness or satisfying your ego. Sometimes we resist our purpose because it doesn't seem convenient or because it won't look cool on Instagram. But you can argue against your purpose. Michael Jordan, although one of the best basketball players of all time, will never do a backflip on ice skates. And I will never dunk a basketball. Purpose is the difference between a pipe dream and a goal worth all the sacrifice it will take to get it. Purpose is the difference between your ego telling you to do something and God telling you to do it. Purpose is the difference between waiting around for your big break and understanding what it actually takes to make you a champion. Each of us was put here with a unique and specific purpose. And that purpose will drive us toward our goal if we can determine what it is. For most people, the answer comes to mind right away. But if you're having a trouble, my guess is that it's because your purpose is being drowned by the sound of the critics in the back of your mind telling you that you're too tall or too short, or that you don't have the background or the training or the pedigree to do what you were made to do. Let me be the first to say that if you were made to do something, none of those qualifications matter. I'm a prime example of this. Have you seen the popular movie Rudy? About the Notre Dame football player Rudy Rudiger. It's an amazing story and another perfect example of what I'm talking about. Rudy was told he was too small to play football, but he was not smart enough, that he'd never make it on the team. At first glance, we might say Rudy's critics were right. He was too small to play football. He was only 5'6", nearly a foot shorter than some of his teammates, and only 165 pounds. But Rudy wasn't willing to accept this as the final answer. He knew his purpose was to play Notre Dame football. Chip, he chipped away at his weakness little by little, one by one. He put in the work, more work than most of his teammates, and finally earned his way into the field. He was never going to be the best player, but that didn't matter. Nothing was going to stop Rudy from achieving his goal. Not his critics, not his brothers, not his dad, not even his coach. Rudy's goal wasn't to become the greatest player of all time. His goal was to prove himself that with heart and dedication, you can really achieve anything you set out to do. And Rudy proved to all of us that when you know your purpose, there are no limits what the human spirit can achieve. Sometimes our purpose is obvious. Michael Phelps was built to be a swimmer. Michael Jordan was built to be a basketball player. Sometimes our purpose is less obvious. Was I built to be an ice skater? Not necessarily, but I wasn't willing to give up. And neither was Rudy. What we shared was a deep knowledge that nothing could get in the way of us achieving our purpose on this planet. If you know your purpose, nothing can stop you either. If you don't know your purpose, here are some questions to ask yourself. What do you love to do? When are you happiest, most excited, and most engaged in what you are doing? What are you gifted to do? And how can you turn that into something meaningful for your life and for the world? Some people argue that they don't have a gift, or that the only thing they love to do is sit around and hang out with their friends. My pushback to them is always to dig a little deeper. Are you naturally good at telling and understanding stories? Pay attention to that. Are you 7 feet tall? That's significant. Are you naturally good with children? That's a gift. Lean into it. If we can stop for a moment and be quiet, we can hear through the noise of the world and take stock of our natural gifts and capabilities. There, we find our great purpose. Try something new. Maybe you haven't discovered your unique purpose yet. Or maybe you're really close, but you need to make the smallest shift to the right or to the left. Maybe your purpose is down a completely different path than the one you've been walking. Or maybe it's right in front of you or behind you and you just need a new way to look at it. If what you have been doing isn't working as well as you wanted to, or if you're just not having fun, consider the option that it might be time to try something. My friend Sterling Ball, you may know him if you purchase his Ernie Ball guitar strings. Is a legendary in the music world, an award-winning bass designer, industry leader, and accomplished bass player who performs with his friends Albert Lee, Steve Lukather, and Steve Morse. If you're a guitar player, you know who this man is because his reputation precedes him. But despite Sterling's obvious success in the world of music, there came a point when he realized there was something else he wanted to do that had nothing to do with music. It was something with which he had very little experience, but something he was passionate about. He wanted to enter the world of competition barbecue. As a newcomer to the industry, he had a lack of experience going against him. But he did his research. And he knew the world of barbecue was massively underserved. In fact, he had two things to bring to the table that he knew were missing. One, he could apply his marketing skills to an industry that wasn't utilizing broad marketing. Two, he saw that he could leverage his passion for cooking in a unique way to an industry that needed more innovation. To try something new, we have to be willing to check our egos at the door. We have to move out from under what is comfortable and be willing to take the risk of being bad at something, or making fools of ourselves, or letting people ask those questions like, barbecue? Why barbecue? When they ask that, we can say, because it's fun. Because it's fun. The results of his commitment and participation came quickly. Within months of coming on the scene, Sterling had secured the American Royal Invitation Award, one of the most prestigious awards in barbecue. Now is ranked as one of the top 25 most influential people in barbecue. Not to mention, in his spare time, he developed a line of championship rums. He's changing the world one delicious bite at a time. All because he was willing to try something new. We all have that something to offer. And that's really what finishing first is about at the end of the day. Making sure we're offering exactly what we have to offer. No more, no less. Even when things aren't going exactly your way. When it seems like you are the least likely candidate for success. When it seems like everybody else is getting there while you're lagging behind. Remember your purpose. Remember to check your ego at the door. Remember that if you're willing to put in the work, you'll have a firm foundation of character to stand on when you reach your victory. There is no way this world will miss what you have to give it. Our family is just came back from Disney World. And I spent some time while I was in the park just sitting, looking at people, paying attention. As I look around at the crowds of people, I found myself thinking about how every person in that park has an incredible story to tell. You have an incredible story to tell. Some nugget of wisdom to share. Some gift that the world needs you to give. There were so many people in the park that we have friends. They're from Nashville and we didn't bump into any of them all week. Imagine the crowds, and within those crowds were hundreds of thousands of beautiful stories, beautiful lives, undiscovered talents and gifts and successes. Who of us doesn't want to look back on our days here on this planet and feel that we fulfilled our purpose? That we didn't take a pass on the gifts buried deep inside us? If each of us decided today that we were going to be a little more productive, a little more sacrificial, a little more selfless, a little more kind, a little more forgiving, and a little more hardworking, the planet would change in an instant. That's the kind of victory I'm pulling for. That's what it would look like for us to finish first. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, Romans chapter 8 verse 28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him and who have been called according to His purpose." If you want to know your purpose, look to God, who promises He will reveal it to you. It's always in His timing. When we fix our eyes on Him, we takes even the worst parts of our story and uses them for His greater good, His greater glory. It doesn't matter how far behind the starting line you think you are